right, people, what is going on? This is episode 304 of the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller, and this has been a pretty good week of shows. I hope you enjoyed this week. Hopefully your Friday will go well, and your weekend will continue to be just as prosperous as the rest of this week. As for me, me and the family is going to be traveling. Yeah, amidst all these crazy gas prices, we are going to be traveling this weekend to go see some family and friends. Worrying about these gas prices is crazy, but hey, I'm going to try to make the most of it and have an enjoyable time. So we're going to go ahead and get into the two topics that we have today. We're going to be talking about Georgia Southern's finally released the dates for their spring football. So football is officially back. It'll be back in a couple of weeks. So that is awesome. Also, we're going to talk about, briefly touch on the Falcons salary cap and what I feel is pretty much the priority of this team right now. Not necessarily which players we pick or whatever the case may be. I think we need to be fiscally responsible with our cap, because we've been, really, strapped for cash for the past few years. And now I think we have a really good possibility to be, really savvy with the salary cap and get some pretty decent players. So we're going to talk about those two things today. If this is your first time here, welcome to the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller. Over here we talk about Georgia Southern and Atlanta Falcons football, and I can be reached on various platforms, whether it be on Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Also, if you want to watch the visual side of this podcast, I am on YouTube and Rumble. Just type in First and Frame Rates. It should pop right on up. Also, if you want to donate to the show and give extra support, the links are down in the description. Also, I have a Patreon as well, where I do an extra episode every Sunday. So I'll add an extra episode where I talk about something outside of the umbrella of Georgia Southern and Atlanta Falcons football. It's still under the world of sports, but just something a little bit different than what I do throughout the week. So hopefully you guys will check all that stuff out. Anything that you like under those situations. If you want to give extra support, that'd be awesome. All right, let's go ahead and get into this. Georgia Southern spring football has basically been put out there for 2022. The first practice will start on March 22nd, and it will go all the way through April 21st. Now, I don't know if any of these practices are open to the public. I have not gotten that information, but if they are, I would try to attend at least one of these two. Already put it in place, and I'm going to be at the spring game. I talked about that last episode, early in the first episode, last episode, that I will be attending the spring game. So I will definitely be there. But if the spring practices are open to the public, I will try to get to at least one or two of them. They do have scrimmages on April 2nd. And the scrimmage on April 16th. So a week prior to the game, they will be having a scrimmage. So I'm not sure. I think in the past, the scrimmages was open to the public. Don't quote me on that, because I had never really attended to any of those. Now, I attended the practice last year prior to the season starting, but not the springtime. Now, I know those practices were open to the public, and I attended one and really enjoyed myself watching the team, get their techniques down and all the other good stuff. And but now we're on a different coaching regime, and I don't know how they do things. So I'm not going to sit here and say, hey, this is going to be the case. You should be able to go here, you go here, you go here. If I get the information, if anybody knows the information, please let me know, and I will go from there. Because definitely I'm going to be at the spring game. So it's going to be really interesting to see what these quarterbacks can do. Because I know during spring football, everybody pretty much gets a chance to do something. And the eye is going to be on these quarterbacks, definitely on these quarterbacks. I mean, all these quarterbacks that were either recruited or transferred here, that's going to be the eye on everything, because everything pretty much starts with the quarterback, and the fact that Georgia Southern's basically changing everything around from what they normally do is going to be really fun to see what Coach Helton and company is going to implement for not only just the quarterbacks but this team. I want to see what kind of plays we're going to run. I would like to see what type of defense is going to be set up. Definitely want to see what the passing game looks like. Because one thing that's been mostly consistent about Georgia Southern is the running game. You know what you're going to get when you have J.D. King, Jalen White, Gerald Green. You know what you're going to get out of those guys. And we got some new guys coming in that's going to be ready to go as well as a freshman. You know, Omar, I think it's Omar Caspi, and I can't remember the other recruit that we did pick up. Oh, goodness, sorry about that. But we did get a 4-star recruit for Georgia Southern, and Terrence Gibbs. Man, I'm sorry about that. Sorry about the hold up. Yeah, Terrence Gibbs out of Florida. So you're gonna have a lot of talent in the backfield. So we already know what we're dealing with there. But when you look at these receivers and how this passing game is gonna be, that's the thing that I want to see. Because Georgia Southern's never been big on their passing game. Never. I mean, we've never been a passing football team for the most part. We tried it a few times, but now, you know, we're really going to be that team that's going to be passing the ball a lot. So definitely going to be watching what they do here. And I hope that the spring football games will be open. If they are, football practices will be open. If they are, we'll be able to see. I mean, and also you're going to have other media there, and I think it's going to be a spotlight on this offense for what they're going to run. So the media is going to be there, and they're going to be talking about that. Now, as far as the defense goes, I'm not really excited. I kind of know what to expect about from the defense. Now, a lot of people talk about the defense was bad last year. We lost a lot of players last year due to injury. And I mean, there was one point, you know, like I said, we lost Tyler Bride, we lost Derek Canteen, we lost a couple of other players. And, you know, you would sit there and think like, okay, most of the reasons why we were bad because we lost a lot of players. I mean, even though the secondary just was not up to par prior to that, we needed to do something different. And I know the talent's there, and I'm not really pushed on the problems of the defense, because I think they're going to turn it around. I think with Will Harris and what they have in store for this defense, and the guys who are coming in and the guys who are returning, not only just the new recruits, but we have veterans returning, guys that have been here 4, 5, almost 6 years, and they're going to come back and play. I think that's going to bode very well for the defense. So I'm not really worried about what's going to happen with them, because I'm more worried about the offense. So with the offense going on, with the offense going to be pushing to be more aggressive, the defense already played aggressive. Sometimes they played aggressive to the point where it was almost a detriment to the team or detriment to to the offense, because of how aggressive they played sometimes, and that was a problem. But I think even though we're gonna still be aggressive, I think we're still gonna play smart, and I think the defense is gonna be okay. I think we're gonna get the defense back to how it used to be, where basically the defense kept the Eagles in the game at times, and the offense was just sputtering. But now with this offense that we have, we should be able to be more successful. I've been on record already to say 8 wins. I'm sticking with that. 8 wins. There's no way around it. I want 8 wins, nothing less. I may settle for 7. But 8-4, straight up. I want us to go 8-4. Got a tough schedule, man, but that's what I'm looking at, and that's what I'm looking into. I want that to happen, and we're gonna I want to see to that. And I want to continue to watch and observe and evaluate and continue to talk about what this team can do and where's the potential lies based on what I see. I'm no expert. I'm just a guy. I'm just a fan just like you guys. At the end of the day, I'm just a fan just like you guys. A lot of people don't know that I've been a fan for Georgia Southern for over 20 years. Yeah, I've been well, we could wait a minute. It's 2022. I've been a fan of George Southern over 30 years. I'm that old. I just thought about that. Like, yeah, I'm thinking 20 years going back to the 90s, but no. Man, if you were born in 1990, you're over 30 years old. Now, Jesus Christ, I'm getting old. Oh my God, I just thought about that. Man, yeah, I'll be 40 this year. Oh man, yeah, I'm getting up there. I'll be 40 years old this year. Yeah, I've been a fan of the Georgia Southern Eagles since the late 80s, early 90s, late 80s. Yeah, so I've been a fan of Georgia for over 30 years. So I've watched a lot. There's been times I haven't watched. I think like the mid 90s is when I kind of fell back a little bit and I didn't watch much. But I've been a fan of the Georgia Southern Eagles for that long. You know, I think mostly like the mid 90s was a time where I didn't really watch. I think the mid 90s and I really couldn't watch the Brian Van Gorder era. Jesus Christ. I don't remember the Van Gorder era as much either. I think those are the two times where I like tuned out. I was like, all right, I'm not watching this. You know, so I remember really getting back into Georgia Southern football probably like 98, 97. I started watching it again, and I remember watching the national the second run of national championships that we got, and I've been pretty much on board. Then outside of, like I said, Brian Van Gorder, that was yeah. Anyway, I'm really interested. I cannot wait. I mean, we're basically like less than 11 days. We're 11 days away for the first spring football practice. Like, no, football is back. You know what I'm saying? Basically, football is back. I mean, it's going to be so awesome to see what this team could do. And I'm really, really excited to see. So we're going to turn our attention over to the Falcons. The Falcons salary cap, it's not necessarily an issue now. Thank you, Kevin Ridley. It's not really an issue now because of the fact that now the Falcons basically have $4.2 million in cap space. So that helps a lot in some cases as far as getting people signed. Now there's some people that's going to be cut. I believe that we're going to let go. So I don't think everybody that's on the roster now is going to be here. There's just going to be some people that's just not excuse me. There are going to be some people that's going to be not worth holding on to. So there's some guys that are going to be out of here, in my opinion, and that's just going to continue to free up more cap space. Now, when we do that, what can we do to get some players here? I mean, I know some people was already tripping on the Khalil Mack trade. Listen, I'm going to talk about this real quick, about Khalil Mack. Now, Khalil Mack is a generational talent. I'm not going to sit here and say it. I mean, he's a definite, a ferocious pass rusher. Now, I got the question about that. Who are we going to trade to get him? And does it help with our cap space? You see what I'm saying? I mean, what are we going to be doing with that? What are we going to be doing to get that together? If we was to go after him. And I saw some people were like kind of upset about not getting Khalil Mack. I'm like, I mean, we're pretty much strapped for cash. And I think Khalil Mack was destined to get like 22, 23 million or something. I mean, who are going to be moving on to get him? You see what I'm saying? It's like, I get it because you want that piece on your team, but if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. And that's basically what we're up against. We need to get our things in order so we can have some dollars, so we can make moves that make sense. And I want us to get some players that's going to be here, that's going to produce. And yeah, the name Khalil Mack and these other players that have been running around here, some wide receivers or whatever the case may be, that we could use a veteran one. Amari Cooper is one. Yeah, I think it makes sense to get an Amari Cooper here. But we need to have the money to do so. Right now, we're at 20.3 in dead cap. I mean, dead money. Dead money, 20.3 from Julio and Dante Fowler. So yeah, the cap has been raised to 20. Oh, well, let me look at it right here. I think I got it here. $208 million, $208.2 million. So that's going to help as well. So I think this is I'm looking at overthecap.com, which is a pretty good website, and I'm pretty sure it's updated to show. So right now our total cap liability is at $203 million, and it's 208. Yeah, so that sounds about right. So from the 203 to the 208, the team cap space is 4.2. That sounds correct. So with that being said, we have 4.2 million right now. There's a couple of players that I already talked about in the prior episode that people that we can get rid of without having to deal with dead cap money, and it's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We got like 13 players. Oh, it goes even further than that. We have like about 20 players that we can move on from, and not have to worry about any dead money, and that's a plus. And some of these guys are almost $1 million a pop that we could save in cap. I mean, you talking about like the Cornell Armstrongs of the world, Rashad Coward. They're gonna be a little bit of dead money if we do that. James Waters, I talked about him. Lafayette Pitts. If you get rid of these guys, you're gonna be saving $965,000. Chad Hanson's another one, almost $1 million. See, these are people that you can get rid of and don't lose any. Willie Beavers, which he played okay, but yeah, you talking about like Willie Beavers. Jordan Brayford. You get rid of you can cut some of these guys and don't lose any cap money. I mean, yeah, you don't lose any. You don't have any dead money. So this is something that we may need to look into. You move some of these guys, and you could possibly get yourself in this position where you have maybe 10. Maybe 15. I mean, really, you can push it to get maybe $15 million in cap space. And then you can probably move and get a couple of good players and re-sign some of these players as well. Or you can try to find some other players that can fill some of these holes that can actually be more of an asset to the team. And I'm not saying none of these guys can't be an asset, but they're football players. But I never heard their name do anything. I never heard any of these guys do anything on the field. So I don't know how, I don't know what they're going to be doing or whatever the case may be, as far as them being contributors on the team, because you don't hear from these guys in the place of business, and that's what it is. It's business at the end of the day, and if we're trying to get under the cap as much as we can, I think it's viable to do so. I've already said this on record. I think Kendall Sheffield is a really good option. If we was to cut him, I like him, but when you look at the dollars, you cut him, you're gonna be giving up $100,000, almost $200,000 in dead money, but you save $2.5 million in cap savings. You can sign 2 or 3 people with that. You see what I'm saying? You can sign 2 or 3 people with that. And I think personally, if we're going after a Sauce Gardner, like I talked about in the last episode, I think this makes sense. I think it makes a lot of sense. One thing I do not see on this list, honestly, on this list, I do not see, and I'm looking at overthecap.com, I don't see Isaiah Oliver. Interesting. Isaiah Oliver is not on the roster? Okay. So I feel like I think this is just basically a priority. I think the draft picks, obviously, but when free agency signing, you want to get the best players available, but you got to get the cap space right. The money got to be right. Money has to be right if you want to get, certain players. So I think first and foremost, they probably already have a plan on who they're going to pick already. I think they already have that, but I feel that, if you want to get people here, I think first and foremost, they got to find a way to get further under the cap. I mean, $4 million is good, to be honest. $4 million is good for the team that we have. But I feel like if we can get 6, maybe 10 million more under the cap, I think we'll be fine. because we still got to sign we still need to sign our draft picks that we get in 2022. So I don't know how that's allocated or prorated or whatever the case may be. Maybe that's already set to the side. I don't know. But I'm just looking at the numbers right here, and I'm looking at all these people all these players that are on the roster right here that unfortunately will probably be replaced with other people because we may feel like we can sign a few players or whatever the case may be. I mean, we're looking at a situation where we're going to have 8 players that's going to be drafted that probably all are going to be signed like last year. So that's 8 players right there. So that's 8 players that's going to be dropped off this roster right here. Then you're probably going to be trying to get 2 or 3 more players in free agency. Probably more than that. So we're probably looking at a turnover we're probably looking at a turnover of about 13 players. And that sounds about right. 8 draft picks, 5 free agents, maybe 1 or 2 of those 5 free agents be like pretty decent splashes that can contribute. And I think we can have a winning formula right there. You know what I mean? You know, you get 2 guys that can contribute, 3 guys that could help as well, but not in a significant way as those other 2. And you got your 8 draft picks. So you're looking at about 13 players. So I think that's pretty much where we will stand for the end of the week. This is the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller. If you like this content, hit the like button, share, subscribe. If you're on the podcast avenue of these of the podcast, give me a 5-star rating. If you're on Apple, give me a high rating on any other of these podcast avenues that give them out. I really appreciate it. Go ahead and share this. Let other people know what I'm doing over here. Also, subscribe. And once you subscribe, you'll get notified whenever I upload an episode. And I think they have an auto download mechanism where you can hit that tab and it'll automatically download as soon as I upload to the episodes to the podcast avenue. Also hit the notification bell on YouTube, Rumble. I don't think they have a notification bell, but subscribe on Rumble as well. It's just more avenues to watch and or listen. If you want to donate to any of the causes that I have to continue to grow the content, that will be awesome. If you want to do any of those avenues, they're down in the description. Also, if you want to sign up for the Patreon, you can do that as well, where you'll get an extra episode of the podcast. That'll be great. All right, everyone, enjoy you guys this weekend. I'll be back on Monday with more content. Also, check out everything throughout the week. If you're on the Patreon side of things, you will see me on Sunday, and I'll be putting up content on my other channel, the VF Cast, where I talk about gaming and everything under that umbrella. All right, y'all. Y'all take it easy. Y'all be blessed. Peace.